I think, do you know what, this is a huge issue, this is a huge challenge, and what have Labour had to offer us on it? They have voted against every single measure we've brought forward to toughen up our asylum system. We've seen Labour MPs opposing and campaigning against the deportation of foreign criminals. What's happened today is do you know what, huge issue, huge challenge, but there seems to be some progress. In the last 2 years, we've seen the number of migrants crossing illegally quadruple. In the last 6 months, we've seen that fall by 20%. And I think part of the reason for that, there's several things being done by the Prime Minister and by the government in an effort to bring it down. But I think one of the biggest things we've done was that deal with Albania, which has meant that the number of people arriving here from Albania has gone down by 90%. We've deported 1,800 illegal immigrants back to Albania, and by doing that, that is removing some of the pressure on the services. It's the right thing to do. It's the thing that's on the lips of the people I talk to in my constituency every week.
Tiny numbers, though, compared to those coming across in the boats, and Mark White, who's speaking to those on the ground there in Dover, indicating the 20% reduction is because of weather conditions, not because of government policy.
Nobody thinks this is job done. Everybody appreciates this is a huge challenge, but it's a global challenge. It's not something that's just happening in the UK, it's happening across Europe. They've had more than 1 million arrivals in the last year. Their numbers are trebling every single, well, going up by 30% every single year. Here in the UK, since we announced that plan just 6 months ago, we've seen those numbers down by 20%. And where are they stopping coming from? It's not universal, it's Albania, where we've got that deal in place, and 90% less arrivals are coming onto these shores. And you know what? When we get that Rwanda scheme through the courts, we will see the same impact, because people will not part with their money to these evil, criminal people smugglers, and instead will make a more informed decision before arriving in this country. Because if you come, you're going to be detained and you're going to be sent back unless you are coming here for very genuine reasons.
Well, if, of course, you can get it through the courts, which is a different question. But just returning to your assertion that Labour have not given any kind of indication of their policy. I mean, Yvette Cooper did say Labour did not oppose a policy of sharing hotel rooms, saying it's always been part of the asylum system. It's not new, i.e. this is the gap, she says, between Sunak's rhetoric and the reality. But the problem is the number of hotels needed because of the backlog in the cases being dealt with.
There is huge investment going into the backlog, but the difference between us and Labour is that we are all up for deporting foreign criminals. They oppose it and very often campaign against it.
Well, can I just interrupt there? Are you asserting all these people are criminals?
No, I mean, we're having the difference about policies, and when it comes to foreign criminals, we are up for deporting them. But more broadly, when people arrive in this country illegally and come across that channel, we are saying that they will be detained. And
I'm sorry, let me just be very clear about this. The Shadow Home Secretary is talking about asylum seekers being housed in hotels. That is a completely different matter to asserting the people are criminals.
I'm telling you what the difference is between the Conservative Party and the Labour Party. It looks like today Yvette Cooper is agreeing with us that people should be required, in the right sense, to share rooms in hotels. Actually, on the bigger question is not how many hotels we can fill, it's whether we should be using those barges, which we should be using.
Well, no, I'm sorry, it is about numbers, because of the number of asylum seekers that haven't been dealt with, that have to be housed in these circumstances, including now, we're told, 2 new barges that will have to be housed somewhere off the British coast.
Yeah, the plan has to be bigger than just sharing rooms in hotels. It has to be about controlling what is coming into this country. And every time we've toughened up on that and we've brought measures forward, whether that be the Nationality and Borders Bill, where we can decide who can and can't come to the country, or whether that be the illegal migration bill that's going through right now, that means we are going to detain people and send them back. That is the difference between us and Labour.
Yeah, the problem is before those attempts are made, they have to be housed here, and we've seen the difficulties with the reaction in Portland, where the first barge is being housed. What do you say to those Conservative MPs who have got constituents coming up to them saying, we don't want a barge here?
I fully sympathise with them, and I would be saying exactly the same if it arrived on my doorstep. But then also, from the government's perspective, we do, on the other hand, do have to think about whether it's right that the taxpayer is footing a bill of £6.8 million a day to house people in hotels. What we have to do is not work out just how we're housing them, but work out how we are going to stop the numbers. In 2019, there were just 300 people came across that channel. Now there are 45,000. We need to stop that. rather than that should be the number one priority, is stopping people entering illegally.